We bring in our panel, Ian Samuel, former law clerk for the late Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia, civil rights attorney Robert Patillo. Robert, am I being too much of a conspiracy theorist to think that, gee, come July, we might all be wearing masks again?
I hope that you are being too much of a conspiracy theorist, Leland. I think that we are following the science for the most part. If we look at the vaccination numbers, as you pointed out previously, we're up near 75% nationally vaccination rate, not to mention the number of people who have been had both shots and have been boosted. It is statistically nearly impossible for a person who's been boosted and vaccinated to die.
Right.
Under 1%.
No, there's no.
So I doubt we'll be going back to lockdown.
Right. Lockdown and masking is different. Ian, how do we understand the politics of this? Because there is a part of the Democratic Party that really wants to continue this thing, and that is the base that President Biden needs to get out if he's going to have a chance to hold the House and Senate in November.
Well, I'm not sure I agree with the second part of that, but I will tell you, and I'm not sure it's completely partisan, but the reality is, and I've thought about this for some time, there are a group of people in this country who are essentially dispositional hall monitors. And this has been like Fat Tuesday for the last 2 years. Finally, you got rules you can make someone obey. And look, those rules have made sense for some time. I have a 3-year-old son. He can't be vaccinated. And he's had to spend a lot of time in masks. And boy, let me tell you how much fun it is to teach a 1.5-year-old that. But there are people, and I'm not sure they're all Democrats, and I don't think it's a partisan identification thing, that just don't want to let go of scolding. And they're not going to go quietly. Hall monitors never do. They're like Stalinists who never won a war or built a country.
Yeah,
and at the same time, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you're about to get me to go on my flight attendant rant, but all of a sudden I was going to get yelled at by the control room.
Yeah, no, oh. Boy, every parent of a young child who's taken them on an airplane and who has been forced by some, and many flight attendants or, stewards and stewardesses are quite nice about this. Some of them aren't. And anybody who has been forced to put a little kid in a mask, a 2-year-old kid who's just wailing, they understand intuitively that this is not about anybody's safety. It is about something else.
Yeah, it's about power. And people inherently...
It is about power.
And people inherently don't want to give up power. Robert, we've got a real problem, though, in America, because people don't believe the politicians on either side. They don't really believe the science on either side. Only 30% of Americans say they trust Dr. Fauci. What does the White House do to restore any kind of credibility that they don't have right now?
Well, I think you have to get more voices out there besides just Dr. Fauci. I think he's been the face of this pandemic and become the villain to many of the political right of this. But I think you have to get more people out there.
Robert, I hate to correct you. It's not the political right. 70% of Americans don't trust him. That's far more than just the political right.
There's a difference between don't trust and they're trying to have fire Fauci and trying to have Dr. Fauci arrested. I think there's a fringe part of the country that believes in that. But I do think you have to get community groups and trusted voices. For example, we've worked closely with Dr. Deborah Furholden from the NYU School of Medicine, who's been a great advocate in the African-American community for actually breaking down and explaining many of these issues to vaccine-hesitant communities. I think if you get the proper information out, it helps to ease the tension and ease the fears. And we also have to look at the fact that we went through a generational trauma as a nation. We have over 1 million people who have died. We went through 2 years of lockdown.
I think it's a little less than 1 million. But either way, the issue that we're having now, though, is we're sort of seeing this happen in a deja vu all over again. Shanghai is shutting down in a way that makes Wuhan look sort of like quaint 2 years ago. We have some video from what's happening in China right now. It is truly wild. The city is empty. There are sort of SWAT teams of testers out on every street. This is one of the COVID isolation wards. This is happening right now in China. The supply chains are starting to shut down once again from China. Ian, to you, how worried should America be that this is going to be a perpetual state of emergency and pandemic, if nothing else, because it gives people power?
Well, I'd say the short answer to your question is not that worried. I was worried about that too. And by the way, I want to emphasize just a single sentence of agreement with something that our friend, the other guest, said. it is really important that, especially among, in black communities, that we have community leaders who are helping people, become safe, get vaccinated, things like that. There are a lot of serious issues there that I think that I thought that was a really good point. But the reason I don't think that, in response to your question, that we have to be that worried about that is because if that was going to happen, it would have already happened. And I thought it would. I'm still thinking of myself as a young man. I'll be 39 this summer. I remember after 9/11, and I remember the way that the state mobilized in a way that really restricted in a serious way. I mean, the civil liberties of librarians, for example. Remember that? That just didn't happen in response to COVID. I don't think that the American state has the institutional capacity to do it. And that is why these mask mandates are kind of withering away, is because at a certain point, people just won't do it.
Ian, I hear you. Robert, I got about 20 seconds. Is there a push in the Democratic Party yet to sort of truly blow the whistle and try and move on, rather than this incremental, we still have to follow the science on and on and on?
I think at this point in time, since we've had the vaccine, since we had the booster doses, since we've had 2 years of this, I think many people in the party have simply decided that, look, if you haven't gotten vaccinated at this point, you're on your own, and we have to move on to other issues. We have to deal with the economy, gas prices, inflations, and midterm elections. So I think much of the party has moved on, and there's still a fringe group that's suffering from the PTSD of this.
A powerful fringe group, 60%. Who still want masks. Robert, Ian, great conversation. It dovetails right into where we're headed next. Thank you both. Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.